It's 2006-ish. I'm in a long-distance relationship with this girl. We do all kinds of cutesy things to try to bridge the distance. We had this little journal that we sent back and forth. We'd spend a week writing things for the other person to read the next week, then we'd send it off. Real movie romance kind of stuff. And we also sent music back and forth. Over the summer, she sent me an album by a band called Brand New. The album was called Deja Entendu. It's one of the probably 5 or 6 albums that I can legitimately say changed my life. Never heard anything like it before. Never heard music like it before. Never heard lyrics like it before. It was amazing. That album and the one after it became a pretty integral part of the soundtrack to my early 20s. And then a few weeks ago, we find out that their singer, Jesse Lacey, is a fucking sexual predator. In his early 20s, he was grooming young girls, manipulating them into sending him nudes, calling them on Skype while he was masturbating. There was even a story where he asked a young girl to come to the green room with him while he got his stuff so they could go hang out. And once they were there, he sexually assaulted her. It's some seriously, grossly shocking shit, right? And how many of these revelations have we gotten lately? And with each new one, I see people asking the question, are we not allowed to like the art anymore because of the artist? If I go to a Brand New show and I cry my eyes out like every other girl when they do Play Crack the Sky, does that mean I don't care about what he did? If I watch the movies Harvey Weinstein produced, am I saying fuck you to every woman he assaulted? I could ask these questions for hours, but you get the idea, right? And I have a few thoughts on this question. And the first thought that I have is fuck your art. Right? Are we really that self-centered right now? I can't listen to my favorite song anymore because the singer's a piece of shit and I'm sad. Like, you lost the art. The victim lost more. I don't give a shit about your feelings. Center the victim. Support the victim. Always. But on the other hand, art saves lives, right? I have song lyrics tattooed across my chest. If I found out the guy who wrote those lyrics was a sexual predator, I'd be fucking devastated. I bet you can remember a time where art helped you through a hard time in life. Maybe it even saved your life. This isn't just a thing where we kind of had fun that one time and we kind of like this thing. We're talking about something that's woven into the fabric of our lives, sometimes in seriously intimate ways. So where does this leave us? How close to the center of a project does someone have to be for us to boycott the project based on their participation? Here's the thing. To be honest, I'm not even sure this is the right thing to be worrying about. Ultimately, what we're talking about here is how we support the victims of these assholes, right? Frankly, I'm not interested in telling you how you should feel about the art. I'm content to leave that to your conscience. What I'm more worried about is how we're centering sexual assault victims in our own lives. Yeah, sure, you don't know Jesse Lacey's victims. You don't know Harvey Weinstein's victims or George Takei's victims, so on and so forth. But it's a mathematical fucking certainty that you have sexual assault victims in your social circles. And they're watching very closely how the people in their lives are reacting to all of these terrible revelations we're getting about our favorite movie stars, TV stars, and musicians. These sexual assault victims in your life have almost certainly been told, either implicitly or explicitly, that they ruined someone's marriage, they ruined someone's career, they ruined someone's family by coming forward with their stories. They've almost certainly had some level of blame for their experience put back on them by the messaging they've received from the people in their lives or from society at large. How do you imagine it feels for them to see people going on and on and on and on about how hard it is for you to enjoy your favorite album after finding this shit out? What message do you think that sends to them about where your priorities are? I read about this thing once called the grief circle, and it was intended to address situations where someone's facing down a serious illness. And the idea is that you put the person experiencing the thing at the center. It doesn't mean no one else's feelings matter. It just means that the person experiencing the thing is put in the center. You dump your grief outward, you dump your love and support inward toward the person at the center. And similarly, I don't really blame anyone who's grieving the loss of their cherished art as these stories come to light, right? I've had a mourning period of my own over the situation with Brand New. But at the end of the day, I wasn't the one who was sexually assaulted. Doesn't mean that my feelings are meaningless. It just means that my feelings mean less in this situation than those who've actually been sexually assaulted. So I'm not going to spend my time dumping my feelings about Jesse Lacey outward where my friends who are sexual assault survivors get to absorb them. Those folks are the ones in the center of this grief circle, not me. Frankly, I'm uninterested in telling people how they should feel about the art in situations like this. What really matters to me is that we're doing what we can to center the sexual assault victims in our lives. You have feelings about this stuff too. I get it. I spent my early 20s crying myself to sleep listening to Brand New, just like a lot of people. I've got serious feelings. But my feelings aren't the most important ones here, and I'm doing my best to act as such. The best thing that we can all do is remember who's actually lost the most in these situations and act accordingly.